Preparing for a day hike always seems simple enough until you realise you haven't washed your favourite hiking socks, your water bladder is still frozen solid, and you failed to check the weather. So in the spirit of avoiding total chaos, I thought I could bring you along while I prep for my next day hike. If you're new to hiking, or you just want to be organised vicariously through me, this one's for you. Alright, so first things first, we need to actually decide where we're going. So full disclosure, I'm an All Trails ambassador. I'm not being paid by them to promote them, but I do have an affiliate link in the description, which gets me commission and you 30% off. But I've been using All Trails ever since I got back into hiking, and I've literally recommended it to all of my friends. I think it's super beginner friendly, and I find it really helpful to know what trails are actually around me and what I can expect when I get on them. So for this one, my dad is coming to visit, so I'd like something pretty scenic that I can use to kind of show off the Peak District, because he's not from around here, he doesn't live here. And I think something around the 4 to 5 hour mark would be good. Oh, I didn't know my phone would look like that. Top tip, make sure you scroll all the way to the bottom if you're using the app to check out the recent trail reviews. Sometimes trails look great in perfect weather conditions, but they are completely washed out or covered in mud at other times of the year. This one looks good. I've never been to Stanage Edge before, and the reviews are saying that it's a bit slippy in places, but not bad at all. So I'm going to save it, download the route, and then hop onto the browser version to send the route to my Garmin. If you have an All Trails subscription, you can also print off a paper version of the map, which will just make you doubly prepared in the navigation department. So on the browser version, I'm just going to hit the trail and then send to Garmin, and that will just make it so I can see the map on my watch as I'm out and about. Don't ask me why they don't put this on the app, because I think it's like one of their best features. So fingers crossed they do that eventually, but yeah, at the moment you have to go through the browser and then send it to your Garmin that way. So we've got the trail. Next on the list is prepping our food and water. Snacks and water are kind of my top priority, so I need to grab my water reservoir out of the freezer so that I have time to defrost it before tomorrow morning. I read that apparently one of the best ways to stop bacteria and mold buildup was to chuck it in the freezer. There are just so many little like moving parts that are really hard to get properly clean and dry, so as well as just washing it normally, I just chuck it in there to have that extra layer of defense. I'm getting it out now because I've left it till the morning of a hike before, and the straw had just frozen solid. So I've learnt my lesson, water bladder is out, and I will just leave it to defrost till tomorrow. Now I'm going to make myself some sarnies and get together some snacks that I can take as well. Delish. So next up, I think we're on step 2 now, is making sure that all of my hiking clothes are clean, washed, and ready to go. This is also when I check the weather so that I know what conditions I'm actually dressing for. Classic UK dilemma at this time of year is knowing that you should probably bring a waterproof regardless, but not knowing if you should wear cold clothes underneath or wear something a little bit more optimistic. Also, top tip, check the feels like temperature, not just the actual forecast temperature. This is doubly important if you're going up a mountain, because wind chill up there can be a killer. So it says we should have a high of 13 degrees Celsius, by the way, which is a feels like 12 and an 85% chance of rain. So kind of mild, kind of rainy. I'm going to need something breathable and waterproof. So I'm going to go with some nylon trousers because they're light enough to stay cool, but they still have some protection against the elements without actually technically being waterproof. I'm going to take a light and breathable jacket, and I'm going to pack a light fleece that I can just chuck in my backpack because I'll probably need an extra layer when we stop and sit down for lunch. Now, I don't want to be in a mad dash this morning, so I'm just going to spend 5 minutes collecting everything that I'll need to pack in my backpack tomorrow. I'm also going to stick everything on charge, which means my camera, mic, battery pack, and my watch, because using the GPS on this drains the battery pretty quickly. I'm also going to grab a spare pair of wool socks that I can chuck in my backpack, a beanie in case it's cold, and then a cap and sunnies in case it happens to be warm and sunny. Again, optimistic, but you can't blame me for hoping. Now all that's left to do is get a good night's sleep. Good morning! I'm starting my day by making myself look presentable to the trees. And I'm continuing the trend of trying to encourage the sun by whacking on some sun cream. Unfortunately though, I think the forecast might have other ideas. Before I start packing, I'm going to chuck some food in the air fryer just so I can get as much protein and carbs as possible, because I'm going to need it when I'm struggling up any kind of incline. And while I do that, I'll fill up my water reservoir because that's the first thing-ish that I pack in my bag. So I'm going to go and sort that, and then I'll bring you along with me to pack my day pack. So, water sorted, let's actually pack it. So like I said, I start with a water reservoir because it's kind of hard to fit in once you've got everything else in there. So just shove that in, and there's a little clip in there that keeps it upright so the water doesn't just sit at the bottom of the bag. And then I slip the straw through these little ties on the straps. Next is anything that I won't really need to be able to grab easily. That for me is another layer because I probably won't really need to put it on until we stop for lunch. And at that point I can just rummage around for a bit longer. So this goes right at the bottom of the bag. Some bags do have zips at the bottom so that you can access stuff underneath, which are really good, but unfortunately this one does not. At least not that I can tell. I don't think it has. Same for my lunch, that's just going to go in there as well because I'm going to need those things at the same time. Apart from extra snacks, I've got some Starbursts in my little hip pocket there. Easy access is necessary for snacks. Then if I am bringing my camera, I'd stick my camera in there, but I'm also using my other camera, so can't really show you that, but I can show you sticking in a little tripod and monopod as well. So they kind of go at the sides so that I can access them a bit quicker. Then a spare pair of socks, probably for the journey home, but just in case your feet get submerged in water. Then I have my electricals, so battery pack, the mic for this goes in there as well, and a phone cable. They go in this little dry bag, and that just gets rolled up so that if my bag does end up with a leak from the water reservoir, or I don't know, it just gets really wet in there for some reason, that stuff is protected. Then I don't think I'm going to need gloves and a hat, but I'm going to bring them just in case it does end up getting a bit chilly, but I'm hoping I'll get to wear my hat. Whoa, where did my head go? Then pretty much the last things are my sit mat and some sunnies, just, really trying to encourage the sun. And then anything that needs to be really accessible is just in this bag here. So I'm going to chuck in some bathroom supplies, and then my keys will go in there as well. And then on the front here is where my first aid kit is. So that's like the most accessible thing in my bag. And you probably noticed that there's quite a bit of room left in the bag. That's just because my waterproof jacket is probably going to go in there. Fingers crossed I don't have to start with it on, and in that case it'll be in there as well. I'm not going to bring my trekking pole for this one, but if I did, it would get stowed in this little bit down here. But yeah, not bringing that today. But other stuff I've got in there: head torch, compass, a lighter. In here I've got a lip balm, a hair tie, and an inhaler. So now that that's packed, it's pretty conveniently time to scran, and then we're ready to go. So when you get on the trail, don't forget to get all of your things and actually start Strava, All Trails, Garmin, whatever tracking device you're using, because did you really go on the hike if you haven't tracked it? That's a joke, don't get upset with me. Let me know if you have a pre-hike ritual or if you just wing it every time. I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.